My guest today is Lance Gumbs, who for the last 25 years has been one of the chiefs of the Shinnecock Indian Nation. And I'm glad to have you on my podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me on, Dan. It's always a pleasure to sit and chat with you.
Yeah, we are due for a steak dinner, actually. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was um, what is the current situation regarding the casino, which was supposed to break ground, at least that was the plan this month. Is that moving along, and is it going to happen soon?
It's moving along. There are some dynamics that we're dealing with internally. But in terms of the overall project, yes, it's moving along to answer your question. We fully intend to move forward with our gaming. Not something that we can just leave sitting on the sidelines, especially given, our situation within our community here.
Is there any discussion about having it somewhere else again? I've been talking about that all these years.
Well, I mean, um, there's always been discussion about having it someplace else, but the nuances that are involved with having it someplace else would really take a concerted effort by basically our local politicians, our state politicians, and our congressional representatives to even have that as a remote possibility. It's not as easy as it sounds, given the rules and guidelines of Indian gaming under IGRA, which is the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act that was passed in 1988. So, it sounds easy on the face of it, but it's not as easy as everyone thinks it could be. And the only, other option for us is if we were to get one of the commercial gaming licenses that are out there. There's 3 left in the state, and if we were to get one of them, then it becomes an easier process because it wouldn't be considered Indian gaming then. So we wouldn't have to be under the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. We could just be like like one of the regular casinos, like Jake's 58 or Aqueduct or any of the others that are in the state.
Have you studied where is it? Islandia, I think, or somewhere there? The other bingo hall?
Jake's 58, yeah, we're very familiar with it. That was one of the areas that we had looked at originally in that area up there, and had discussed, the potential of going there. We had actually had meetings with Suffolk County back in the day and talking about the various locations that were along 495 that would be suitable for our gaming, but never worked out.
Is the parking for what I saw the plan for it. Is the parking for cars similar or more or less than what you saw on the one up the island?
Well, we have a lot more options than they have. I mean, we have the ability to park cars at the Powwow grounds and shuttle them up. We have various parking lots within the community, just as we would do for Powwow. So parking, really isn't a concern. It's not going to be, this overly large facility. And, obviously it's not going to have a hotel with it at this point. So it's manageable. It's doable and it's manageable.
Do you have a date when you think it might break ground, roughly?
No.
Not yet. Where will it be on the land? Near the Powwow grounds?
Nope. It's going to be right out on the highway.
And that would be at which end of the peninsula?
Right here on Montauk Highway.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm sorry,
Like,
east or west?
Well, it's west of me, east of the museum. And there we have a area there that we have designated for economic development for the tribe, and that was done probably a good 15 or 16 years ago. We called it our economic development zone, our economic hub development zone area. So um, that's most likely that's the most likely place for it.
One of the most interesting things that to me has been the shift in public opinion about the monuments up on Sunrise. I think it's changed quite a bit. Whether or not you realize it, I don't know. But initially, everyone was all bent out of shape about it, and then they were put up, and now people are saying things like, "Well, they're standing up for themselves. This is what they want to do," and we're kind of nice. It's nice to see this happening for them. Have you noticed that?
Well, we had a lot of quiet support in from the community. You had the ones that were going out in the paper and that had the names, and they were making the splash about the signs and how they were going to be an eyesore and this, that, and the other. But the reality of the situation is we actually had a lot of quiet support from the community, people that didn't want to say anything publicly, but were expressing to us their support behind closed doors. So we knew that obviously there was going to be, those who have a microphone, so to speak, that were able to get out and push their own agenda about, the signs. But we were very happy and excited with the quiet support that we were getting from various people, from various community groups. So for us, it was just a matter of continuing to move forward and doing it. And we've been that good neighbor, Dan. You and I have had many conversations about our community here, our Shinnecock community, and we've always been that good neighbor. We've always been supportive of the community, even when we've watched around us in horror the destruction, of our waterways, the destruction of land, the building of, McMansions, and, even all of the building that's going on out on County Road 39 there, So, I mean, for us, it was just a matter of time before we got tired, we got fed up and said, you know what, we're going to do something, for ourselves that will help our community. We've always heard, every time we've done something, and it's been really funny to watch, because every time we've done something, whether it was the cigarettes or the gaming, we've had those individuals in power come out and say, well, we have other ideas for you. We have other ideas for you. Let's sit down and talk. And we've never heard any of the ideas. They've never come to the table with any so-called ideas, for us to use. So at some point in time, you can kick a dog, around for a long time, but then he's going to bite back. And that's where we're at this point. We've been kicked around and misled and talked about, and we're just, saying now, you know what, we're going to do what is right and necessary and good for our own community.
Do you have any other plans in the works for other sources of income other than the casino?
Yes.
Can you tell me about any of them yet?
Uh, at the moment, I can't, but actually, I think it's something that will be accepted much more readily than the gaming. Obviously, we're doing the medical cannabis, and that's still on course as well. will be having a meeting coming up in July to pass all of the resolutions for that. But we have another exciting project that I think that will fit in, out here in the Hamptons. That will be a substantial revenue generator for the tribe. But I'm at liberty right now to really discuss it.
All right. What are you planning for the powwow this year?
We have canceled the powwow this year. We are going to go back to a virtual. It's really hurting because this would have been the 75th anniversary of our powwow being open to the general public. But we just could not take the chance, even though the rules and restrictions have been lifted. We did not feel that we could take the chance because of some of the tight quarters there. You've been to the powwow, and a lot of the booths are small, and you go in the booths, and so there was really no way to not only protect the outside public, but to protect our vendors and our dancers as well. So we decided against having it on, just err on the side of safety, and taking that precaution. And pretty much everybody across the Northeast here followed all of the tribal groups. The Mashpee Wampanoags, which have their powwow on 4th of July weekend, they have canceled. The Narragansetts in Rhode Island have canceled. The Mohegans have canceled. The only one that's going to attempt to do it at this point is the Mashantucket Pequots, the owners of Foxwoods. But Salamanca, the Seneca powwow has been canceled. So just about all of the, as we call it, in Indian country here, the powwow circuit, the Northeast powwow circuit has been canceled. And even all the powwows, that were at the universities, Brown University has a small powwow, Yale has a small powwow, Harvard has a small powwow. Even all of the university powwows were canceled. So, we just are going to prepare for next year and come back bigger, stronger, and better.
Tell me a little bit about the arrangement that was made, which I think was a very joyful one with the town about the burying grounds. What is the how is the revering of the dead different for the Shinnecocks from your tradition, from the Caucasian approaches?
Well, I mean, I think that we honor our ancestors. I think there's a big difference just in that realm. We've seen areas where there's community development, and they want to put something there, and they'll dig up your ancestors, and they'll move the bodies to a different location. We don't do those kind of things. So for us, once we put our people, that once we bury them, and usually they're buried with some sort of artifacts that was a part of who they were in this world, for them to take with them to the spirit world. We honor them though. And there's a major difference, in our philosophy and how we treat those who have gone on before us, because we know that, without them, we would not be here. They paved the way for us to have, even to maintain this small piece of land that we have here that, we call Shinnecock, the Shinnecock Neck, our piece in West Woods. I mean, you see all the other lands that have, been stolen from us, especially out here in Shinnecock Hills in 1859, where, all of that land was flat out illegally taken. It's not even a question. And we didn't, lose the federal case. The judge, in the case, in the federal case, said that we had waited too long, and they used this this thing called latches. But that's something that we're also going to revisit, because now that we're a federal tribe, back in 1973, 74, when we actually sued the first time for the for our lands, we were put on that list for federal recognition. They said that we had somehow disappeared off the list. I know we were on the list in the the 40s, 50s, and we disappeared. We were never terminated by Congress like a lot of the other tribes across the country. We just disappeared off the list. So when we sued for our land in 1973, 74, they said that, they didn't have a record of us, and so they were putting us on this list. So as you're well aware, in 1978, we went on the list to be a federally recognized tribe, a process that was supposed to take a year and a half, 2 years at the most. And we ended up waiting almost 32 years. And a lot of that is thanks to our influential neighbors, that are around us here, which we have clearly discovered that the delay process was part of a concerted effort to keep us from being federally recognized.
So, but now there's a new agreement with the town about burial grounds. Briefly, what is that?
It's a moratorium right now. There was a moratorium put on it as for any construction work that a tribal member, especially in the sacred areas. There's designated zones that are, especially up here in the hills, that are have been designated historical sites or on the town's sensitivity sites map. And so what that would do, the moratorium would temporarily halt any construction and make sure that there were a tribal member, our historic preservation officer, or someone would be there to monitor to make sure that, while there was digging going on, if any digging was going on, the tribe would be notified, and then they would have to do the test. There's 3 different tests, and I'm blanking on it right now, that are done to verify an area's sensitivity in terms of artifacts or anything along those lines, burials, and similar to what happened with the Hawthorne Road property, where a skull was discovered and an artifact was discovered as well at that time. And basically a halt was put on it, and we ended up getting the Community Preservation Fund to help the tribe. We actually paid for some of that as well. So in a joint effort between the Community Preservation Fund, the tribe, and the town, we were able to purchase that property. So that's kind of like what we're looking at in the future, as we move forward. But we're still pushing the fact that New York State does not honor NAGPRA, which is the act that talks about. New York is only one of 4 states that doesn't have that or honor the federal laws concerning burial sites and traditional burial sites. So that's something we're still pushing on a national level as well.
Well, thank you for coming. These podcasts generally take around 20 minutes, and we've used it up. I'm talking to Lance Gumbs, who's one of the tribal chiefs of the Shinnecock Indian Nation and a good friend. And I'll see you soon.
All right, thank you for having me on, Dan.
And the palm.
Yes, I look forward to that.
Okay, bye.
All right, have a good one.